Yes, this is an island surrounded by water, big water, ocean water. Trust me, I'm like a smart person. I'm very consistent. I'm a very stable genius. I had the best words. Tolerizing. I know words. Mike Pounds. I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation. But there's no better word than stupid. Anonymous, really anonymous. I'm very highly educated. One of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water. Had the best words. God bless the United States.
NATO is definitely.
Around the nation, Waldorf Nation. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. It's Monday. Hopefully, everybody had a good weekend. Oh boy, you know what? I'm just not even gonna try to be like, nothing eventful happened this weekend. I wonder if anybody got any relaxation, because we all know that's not the case. We all know shit be fucked up. Let me just tell you, okay? A lot of stuff going on here. So we're going to get into some of it. Yes, we're going to talk about Parler. A couple of stories on Parler. Interesting stuff. We also have a Trump supporter, Trump rioter, who is actually facing consequences and is not happy about it. Fun. We've got Sarah Huckabee Sanders, of course, getting publicly owned online, which is great. But the big story of the day, it looks like we might have another impeachment. What is going on here? The normal craziness. Insanity. Dave Rubin and Tulsi Gabbard had a live stream today, complained about the social media purge with a disabled live chat. Why is Dave Rubin? Why would Dave Rubin be crushing free speech like that by not allowing chat? How dare he? How dare he? So, okay, anyway, it's weird because my OBS is like messed up right now because it's showing me offline for like all three streams, even though I'm clearly online. So very, very strange stuff. But if you could, please give us a like on all the different platforms that we're on. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitch, we're on YouTube. We're on all the places where conservatives are not, apparently. Wow, yeah. So there's some stuff. All right, anyway. We'll get into it. Tulsi Gabbard, Dave Rubin and Tulsi Gabbard. Jesus Christ. Tulsi Gabbard. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with Tulsi Gabbard? Could it be she was not progressive all along? Interesting question. Interesting question. Certainly Dave Rubin. Okay, so you guys know my thoughts about Dave Rubin. How this guy, he doesn't believe in anything. I mean, I'm actually sure the guy is socially liberal since he's gay. But like, as far as, everything else, like ideology, his ideology is whatever makes me money. The monies. So, that's really what Dave Rubin's all about. No F Facebook on a hot mic. That was an issue. That was a technical issue, y'all. So It happens. And yes, I tend to get a little angry about it. But anyway, Tulsi promoted Project Veritas before the election. True. If any Democrat doesn't know about Project Veritas by now, they're either plainly ignorant or on their side. True. Yeah, we've known about Project Veritas for a very, very long time. And if you're not familiar, basically everything that they've, all the hit videos that they've come out with, Planned Parenthood exposed, election integrity exposed, the Democrats exposed, it's usually turns out to be bullshit. 99.99999, oh, fuck it, 100%. 100%. They make things up, take things out of context, edit, selectively edit videos, on and on and on and on. Okay. They do that with like no repercussions either. As far as, yes, there are repercussions, and no, there are not. So anyway, but let's get to it. We got stories. It's important. It's really important that you say that about Parler, because it's not just Parler was doxxed. They doxxed themselves, and I'm going to explain how. And so that's one of the stories that we have today. The one time that they didn't have to edit video, they still slightly did. True. James O'Keefe, by the way, speaking of consequences, they have in court for doing that. So TP is sure to expose it. All right. Anyway, moving on. House Democrats have just introduced an article of impeachment against President Donald Trump, which, of course, would make it the second time that the president has been impeached. Wow. Okay, so now this comes in the wake of last week's deadly riot at the U.S. Capitol, where 6 people lost their lives. So 6 people died. Now, I regret to inform you that we were actually wrong about some of the details that come out last week. It turns out that somebody did not taser themselves in the balls so much that they died. Nonetheless, 6 people did die, including a woman that was shot by Capitol Police. And I believe there was a person that was crushing a door. Someone that was trampled, holding ironically, a "Don't Tread on Me" flag. And so there was a real loss of life here. Okay. And so a lot of them were quote unquote patriots that were egged into it by Donald Trump. And so that seems to be at the heart of this new impeachment charge, is whether or not the president had incited this riot to happen. This little insurrection, which caused a lot of property damage at the Capitol, as well as said loss of life. So now I'm just going to read here from an article. House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer told reporters that he expects a vote on the article could come as early as Wednesday of this week, with the goal of beginning Senate discussions as soon as possible. So the time framing is really important here if you want to get him out of office soon, because he's only got like 9 days left. And so already you've got, you have 9 days, and then, oh, look, it's Monday, then you got Tuesday, Wednesday, you have like 6 days left. And then, so basically people are asking, what's the point? I will get to that in a minute. But first, the 4-page resolution notes Donald Trump's direct responsibility for indicting the seditious mob that proceeded to violently overwhelm the Capitol and interfere with the joint session's solemn constitutional duty to certify the results of the 2020 presidential election. So I'm reading from that. Okay. So now, that was, look, to slow things down, that was the goal. To stop the count for Donald Trump. Remember, stop the counts. We got to stop the counts so I can win. Well, now they want to stop the certification to make sure that, I don't know, that somehow Donald Trump could come away with this a winner, even though he's not a winner. But anyway, now there were people that were, photographed with zip ties. that are part of the rioters. And so these are the people that, I mean, look, there's only one reason you would bring zip ties, like zip tie handcuffs, okay, with you. That's if you plan to take hostages. Now, lucky enough, for anybody that's inside the Capitol building that was not a rioter or a police officer, they managed to get out. They managed to evacuate so they didn't have to deal with this, so that they didn't become a hostage. And so, because who knows what would have happened? They've been taken hostages. Would they have been executed on TV? I mean, what was the overall goal? And thankfully, we didn't get to find out because they were not successful at this. Now, the reason that I jumped to that is not because I'm like trying to fearmonger or be like extreme, right? Or jump to the most extreme circumstance. It's basically what they attempted to do to my governor in Michigan. This was, that was a dry run. They tried to take over the Capitol building to try to take her hostage and execute her on TV. Now, you had people saying, hang Mike Pence. You had people going after Nancy Pelosi. You had people going after AOC as well. I mean, the more well-known Democrats, as well as, again, as I mentioned, Mike Pence. So this was no joke. This was a big thing that had happened. So again, the whole point, like I said, take hostages perhaps was the goal, and maybe as a result, scare Republicans, the rest of the Republicans, the majority of Republicans, into stopping the certification, which we already had some Republicans that had, that had done so. Even with this. And of course, the whole thing was driven by their craven desire to stay in power, because that's all Republican politicians care about is sending the message to, hey, don't worry, base, crazy people, we're still with you, even though we don't agree with you in private. We're going to agree with you publicly because we're scared of you. We're real scared of you. And they really, really are. All right. So again, this was to pressure Republicans to not certify the results so that Donald Trump could stay in office for another 4 years or perpetuity, whatever. A coup. It's a coup attempt. All right. So now on that, it looks like Trump's January 2nd phone call to Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger also got a mention in these impeachment articles, as did Donald Trump's repeated false claims that he rightfully won the 2020 presidential election. Because again, the way that he was able to motivate the mob was by saying the election, they stole the election from us, they stole it, and what we're going to do is we're going to go and storm, we're going to take it back, from them, okay? We're going to march up to the Capitol. And then, of course, he didn't march with them, obviously. He went and fucked off to a bunker somewhere and just hid, and didn't do anything. But the mob did. Absolutely. And so the whole point, again, was to steal the election. So now in this, here's what the impeachment resolution reads. In all this, President Trump gravely endangered the security of the United States and the institution of government. He threatened the integrity of the democratic system, interfered with the peaceful transition of power, and imperiled the co-equal branch of government. He therefore thereby betrayed his trust as president to the manifest injury of the people of the United States. Donald John Trump, by such conduct, has demonstrated that he will remain a national threat, a threat to national security, democracy, and the Constitution if allowed to remain in office. Now, some of you, again, might be thinking, okay, look, I know, but he's going to be gone in like 9 days. So, like, why are you trying to impeach him again? What's the point, right? Why are you trying to get him to resign? He's going to be done real soon. Well, turns out there's actually a pretty interesting, explanation for that, of why actually impeachment's not a bad idea. For one, if you're convicted by the Senate, he can be barred from holding elected office again. So, no Trump 2024. Because who knows what kind of incitement that he would do in the next run. All right. And so he could also more importantly, and this is the part that I like, my favorite part, okay, if impeached and convicted by the Senate, yes, he would, of course, lose his ability to run in 2024, not, and not be able to serve out his final days in office, but also would include his $200,000 a year pension, lose his health insurance, a yearly travel budget, and full security detail. That's all paid for by us. Yeah. How about no? How about fuck you? I'm not paying for any of your shit, you fucking loser. Get out. Get out of our house. Okay? Get out of our White House. I'm not giving you a goddamn dime. I really don't. I really don't. I hope he has nothing for you, sir. You lose. Go home. And you can't actually go home again either if you're Donald Trump, because New York doesn't want your ass. So, no. Get him impeached. That is worth impeachment right now. Okay, he deserves nothing for blowing up the nation. Okay, he deserves nothing for his disastrous 4 years in office. Look, 375,000 people have died from COVID-19, something that he could have done. He could have done something about this, okay? He could have actually, he could have actually been a leader on this issue, okay? He could have actually done something and not downplayed the virus. He could have been pushing legislation for Congress to take up earlier. Okay, he just came in at the fourth quarter. Okay, like there's like 2 minutes left. Okay, and he's like, oh, turns out I want $2,000 stimulus checks when he had absolutely no involvement in the previous deals when it comes to coronavirus stimulus. Okay, so no. Get out. Get out. You're done. You're an utter disaster. There are millions of people that are in poverty as a result of the president. Millions of people. Okay? You don't deserve it all. Now, the bad thing about this is that, you would have to have 2/3 of all Republicans, 2/3 of the House and Senate, which includes a lot of Republicans, in order to vote for it. I don't think it's likely to happen. But I think it's a little bit more likely than it was before for the first impeachment, okay? So, again, I don't know. That said, there is something interesting that happened prior to us going live, and I want to show it to you. Now, this is floating around social media here. Take a look. So that's a government website right there, and it shows President Trump, his term ending today. Now what happened? What is going on here? So unfortunately, I don't think that we should, take this as gospel. I think this is the definite, mountain of salt you should take with this, okay? But, is it a glitch? Is it hackers? Did somebody change this? The website is now down. The page doesn't exist anymore. So I don't know what is going on here. I am not sure. I am not sure. Hell of a glitch. Hell of a glitch. I guess we're going to have to see what happens with that. But as far as we know, impeachment, the articles are already introduced, and we are going forward with this to remove Trump one way or the other. Radio Free America says, as Reagan left office, he deregulated the news, removed the need to give opposite opinions equal time. Yeah. Goodbye fairness doctrine, which of course, yeah. The loss we feel every day. All right. Let's go to Parler. I'm proud of my president for earning a second impeaching. Good stuff. Let's see. Scout is taken says, looking forward to Dave Rubin discovering that he has to disown his husband and continue his journey to the right. He's like, Dave Rubin is he's going to try to prove horseshoe theory. He's going to go so far right that he's going to end up like saying he's going to end up coming back and rebranding as like a socialist or something. That'll be fun to see. A disgruntled State Department employee was behind the glitch. Oh, well, that's an update. Thank you, Christina, for the very kind $5 as well. Yes, I'm gonna have to look that up because again, that broke right before I went on air. So that is kind of sad, but also fucking hilarious. I love it. Okay, let's go to Parler. Should be fun. Reported as a disgruntled. I'll have to talk about that tomorrow when we have more. When I have more information. On here. The right-wing social media site known as Parler is no more, at least for the time being. So now Parler went offline Sunday night after Amazon Web Services, AWS, suspended the social media platform, citing the lack of course, content moderation. So nobody was moderating the content. Now, seeing how lack of moderation was kind of the point of Parler, it's in question whether or not Parler will come back. I don't think it will. I think Parler is pretty much done. Now, AWS said in a statement that Parler had violated its terms of service. Following this, both Apple and Google removed the app from their stores. You can't find it anymore. And you can kind of understand why, honestly. It's not coming back, okay? It turns out that these companies do not want to be associated and blamed for the content on Parler, which is kind of interesting because you know how Republicans, how right-wingers are railing against Section 230? That's the thing that prevents these companies from being held liable for content users post on their platform. So it's funny seeing Parler, basically being held liable, not in a legal sense, but in like a reputation sense. Like, I don't want to do business with them as a result of content posted by their users, which is hilarious. Nonetheless, it's pretty clear they don't want their brand sullied by hosting websites that were used to coordinate an insurrection. It kind of looks really bad to investors. It just does. Now, Parler CEO John Matz said in a statement that the network could be offline for up to a week, according to the Washington Post. And on Sunday, here's what he said.
It's an assault on everybody. I mean, they all worked together to make sure at the same time we would lose access to not only our apps, but they're actually shutting all of our servers off tonight, off the internet. So they made an attempt to not only kill the apps, but to actually destroy the entire company. And it's not just these three companies. Every vendor from text message services to email providers to our lawyers all ditched us too on the same day. And they're trying to falsely claim that we were somehow responsible for the events that occurred on the 6th.
This is absolutely extraordinary that you see this coordinated effort on the same day that the president is banned on Twitter. You've got Google and Instagram removing Parler, and now last night late, Apple removes Parler as well. What are you going to do? John, can this put you out of business?
Oh, I mean, it would put anybody out of business. I mean, they could destroy anybody. If they did this to any app, any company, it would completely destroy them. And we're going to try our best, to get back online as quickly as possible. But we're having a lot of trouble because every vendor we talk to, says they won't work with us because if the Apple doesn't approve and Google doesn't approve, they won't.
Oh, weird. It's almost as if deregulating corporations and giving them the ability to be online gatekeepers was kind of a bad idea in the first place. And nobody could have foreseen this blowing up in their face, except, like, pretty much everybody. All of us. But, of course, conservatives that are angry are going to blame the left, which, of course, is hilarious because the left has nothing to do with this. Like this dumbass tweet from washed-up actor Scott Baio. So Scott Baio not a smart person. Here's what he said. First, the left silenced the sitting president of the United States. Okay, he's president of the United States. You know, he could call a press conference right now, and people would listen to him. There'd be cameras everywhere. It's this weird thing where he literally has the biggest megaphone in the world. He could do that. He's president of the United States. But no. Conservatives still think that he's a victim because he can't go and bust out a tweet at 3 a.m. while he's taking a shit. You've got to be kidding me. Holy hell. And the rest of the tweet, by the way, is dumber. Even dumber. Here's what he says. Now they've silenced every conservative in America, banning Parler. They're acting like a cartel, not a free market. And by the way, the end of that tweet has a Chinese flag. Because of course, right? Here's the thing about a private corporation. It turns out that they have no obligation to serve you. I know, weird. They're not. They're not required to host your shitty website. And if you sign a terms of service, you're required to follow them. And if you don't, it turns out you can be suspended. That's how the free market works. But here's another big brain take from everyone's favorite smug contrarian douchebag. That's Michael Tracy. Michael Tracy says this. So Parler wasn't just purged by Google, Apple, and Amazon. Smaller vendors then immediately followed suit, ensuring the destruction of the website. This is vast monopolistic power and display, marshaled for the explicit purpose of terminating political free speech. Okay, so you pointed out, and there's a half truth in there. Okay, you pointed out that 3 companies and then smaller vendors decided that they did not want to, basically host Parler, and they have a choice not to, right? And then you say all of that, the companies, the different companies, conspired together in a monopoly. I don't think you understand exactly what a monopoly is. Okay, it's not that. That's not what a monopoly means. Okay, but you know what? He's not the only one. I don't want to spend too much time on Michael Tracy. Here's pro-Trump broadcaster Janine Pirro making an unfortunate comparison.
What's your reaction to that? Parler shut down.
Well, look, they gave us a taste of this pre-election when they suppressed the Hunter Biden story. And now that they've won, what we're seeing is a kind of censorship that is akin to a crystal knock, where they decide what we can communicate about.
Whoa. Crystal knock. Wait. So I don't remember when the Jews were kicked off Facebook. Okay, in 1939, okay? I don't remember that. So somehow being kicked off of a social media platform or having your social media platform removed is somehow the same as being murdered. You've got to be kidding me. They're such crybabies. Holy fucking shit. That said, there is a case to be made, and I'll make that case, that tech companies have too much power when it comes to online discourse and gatekeeping. I think we can all agree on that, okay? But there's a solution here, right? I think that we should break these companies. We have antitrust laws on the books. It's just you have to have a president worth, that's actually there to do so. I think that, you should break up these companies. You should nationalize portions of them as a utility in order to have them serve as a public forum. For example, just the tweets portion. Break up the rest of Twitter from everything else that Twitter does, and just take the very basic messaging platform, tweets, whatever, nationalize that, and then you can protect free speech as a public utility. That way, the companies will also be reduced in size, which you could increase competition, okay? And also, if you choose, you could use a government utility that presumably could have regulations on where they don't sell your data to third parties. Yay. And so that said, the reason that these companies are refusing to host Parler is because the site has been used, among other things, to support insurrection. not only that, but it basically hosts a lot of neo-Nazis, racists, dregs of society. Pretty bad people, okay? Not good people. So I think these companies are well within their rights to refuse to host a website where this happens. Many of them have terms of service against spreading hatred. And let's be honest, spreading hatred was kind of what Parler was about. It was only an echo chamber filled with conspiracies, hatred, and anti-Semitism. They will not be missed. They will not be missed. That's all I have to say there. More Parler stuff. See, this is what happens when you don't know what you're doing. The right-wing social media site known as Parler has been shut down. Now, that's a result of course, nobody wanting to host their website. Now, the reason for that, of course, really depends on who you ask. For right-wingers, it's an attack on my free speech. It's a coordinated attack on free speech. To the left, it's because they aided and abetted a capital coup. And Amazon Web Services says it's because they broke TOS. And said, well, look, they didn't clean up their website. They didn't moderate against some of the more hateful, egregious stuff that's being posted on there. And so, well, we're well within our rights to be able to refuse them service. You are not guaranteed to have a platform here, okay? Regardless of whatever reason you agree with, the point is that it's inaccessible, okay? But the data, what's really important is that the data actually does exist. I often say that, when something's on the internet, it doesn't disappear from the internet. It's always going to be there in some form or fashion. And so this is, this is no different, okay? And a Redditor is going to explain why that is relevant into the investigations of people involved in the Capitol coup attempt. So the post is as follows. So a group of developers latched onto the press release that Twilio put out at midnight last night. In the press release, Twilio, I believe that's a company, accidentally revealed which services Parler was using. Turns out, it was all the security authentications that were used to register a user. So, okay, what does that mean? Well, basically, what this boils down to is that you had people able to go in and create a user, but not have to have it verified by email. So, when you sign up for something, a new website or whatever, and you get this verification email, okay? Oh, we're just gonna verify that it's you, and to make sure that it's not somebody who's trying to steal your name or whatever, all right? Okay, so now, without that verification email, it allows somebody to be able to do some things that are not good. So now, again, Parler apparently allowed anyone to create a user, not have to verify the address, and have an immediately online logged in account. So immediate access with no verification. It gets better. Because of that access, it gave them access to behind the login box API that is used to deliver content, all content. So that includes videos, pictures, user profiles, user information, as well as parlays. So here's just a little bit of an aside. So this is a website for white nationalists, basically, and they're using the word parlor or parlay. Sounds a little French. I don't know the etymology of the word, but it sounds like, I don't know, not something like an American patriot would use. I'm just saying. Okay, but anyway, that's a ridiculous non-point, but I figured I'd make it anyway. And I do love how it's like their version of a post or a tweet is a parlay. I'm gonna send you a parlay. Read my parlay. All right. Anyway. So now, along with all that other information, which is really important, okay, especially the user information, geolocation, posts, and everything, it also revealed which users had administrative rights or moderation rights. So now administrator accounts obviously have a lot more power than the average user. Basically controlled the website. So you probably see where this is going with the email verification. All right. So if you're able to go in without any sort of verification, then you could just go in and find out who a moderator is, try to log in as it, but instead of, since you don't know the password, you could go and request a password reset set to wherever you want. So, that's exactly what happened. And so hackers ended up creating a backdoor for themselves. In fact, those user accounts that had administration rights to the platform, the hackers, internet warriors, call it what you will, was able to use the forgot password link to change the password. Why? Because Twilio was no longer authenticating emails. This meant they'd get directly to the reset password screen of that administration user. This group of internet warriors then used the account to create a handful of other administrator accounts, then created a script that ended up creating millions of fake administration accounts. So obviously that went out of control very, very quickly, as it does online. Turns out they also created a virtual machine called a Docker that would collect data off of Parler that would download it to separate servers, which again included user data. And again, it gets even better. Okay. All of the data, videos, images, posts, metadata, including geolocation of all images and videos, connections to the accounts that posted, have been since midnight been uploaded to various cloud drives and storage arrays for the purposes of archiving this information for later retrieval by law enforcement, the public, open source intelligence communities as well. So the FBI right now, they've been trying to identify people. Now, if they want to identify people, for example, posting threats to Nancy Pelosi, AOC, Mike Pence on Parler, they could now go to where all that information is just posted, look it up, tie those accounts to real people through their pictures and metadata and email addresses and accounts and all that stuff, and then go and find those people because they have all the information. Their name, their picture, their address, everything that they've said, all in a nice, wrapped up in a nice little package, ready for the FBI to go and get those, okay, to get those people. And it gets even better. All this information was thought to be secure and private by individuals who were making the posts. A significant number of those individuals actually went through with the process of being a verified citizen on Parler. So what is a verified citizen? Well, it means that they had uploaded a picture of the front and back of their real state driver's license. So basically, they doxed themselves. Yes, they can follow them through their IP addresses, yes. But actually, they just made it that much easier. They don't even have to do that. They've got their IDs linked to those posts, linked to those accounts. They just made the FBI's job super fucking easy. So you've got positive IDs saved to their Parler accounts, verified, and the FBI now has unfettered access to all of this being 100% public. Which again explains how the FBI, DHS, and FAA have been able to immediately and exhaustively create no-fly lists. Every verified attendee of the Capitol riot where they can find a real name has already been placed on such a list. So they can't leave. Can't leave. Also, they thought, okay, some of these people thought, oh shit, I was at the Capitol riot. Okay, what if I just delete my post? I'll just delete the evidence. I'll get rid of the evidence. That'll show them. Now, it turns out Parler doesn't actually delete things. In fact, a lot of posts deleted by Parler members after the riots on the 6th weren't deleted. It were just shown a page as deleted, but that content still existed for, guess what? Administrators. Administrative accounts have access to all those records. And of course, the hackers, and now the FBI, has access to all of it. Everything. Now, I think the big lesson here is be careful on the internet, obviously. Be careful what you post, especially if you're going to do the world's dumbest insurrection. Just saying. Twitter and Facebook doesn't delete your messages either. True, which is why I say that, you should be careful what you post no matter what, especially if you're going to post things about an insurrection. And again, you might not want to share some of this information or just not do an insurrection. Go play cards, go take a walk, do something useful, and not be a complete and utter jackass. Do something productive. That's all I'm saying. Because it turns out, if you fuck around, you're going to find out. Man, that is hilarious. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick break. I want to come back and show you the reaction of a MAGA writer that was not happy about finding out that he was not on the no-fly list. So that's fun. And then Sarah Huckabee Sanders can't stop being publicly owned. Lots of fun. So we'll do that in just a couple minutes. Stay right here. Around the Nation will be right back.
Tolerate.
I like my meat tight. Tighten up my meat.
Around the Nation, Waldorf Nation, Jeff Waldorf back with you. All right, so before we get into the last two stories of the day, I do want to thank some people for supporting the show. So real quick here, I want to thank Mike Sosa for signing up to be a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. You can see the bottom crawl, which is not on the screen, but there is a bottom crawl where you can find out how to sign up and support independent progressive media, where we have lots of fun on this channel. All right, so let's also go to channel memberships over on YouTube. I want to thank Raymond Davis and Corey Strickland for signing up as well. So much appreciated. And then let's head over to Twitch here. Pagan Communist, thanks for the biddies. Much appreciated. Tight Meat, yes. Yes, Crazy Hawaiian PA. Thank you to everybody who follows me over on Twitch as well. Follow, do a subscription. By the way, John's Venn diagram of desire. Thank you for the tier 1 gifted sub. Definitely appreciated when you do that. So lots of good things happening all over the different platforms. So thank you to each and every one of you. Let's see. Oh, we have, okay, never mind. Let's move on. A Trump rioter had a complete meltdown after he was refused a flight following the Capitol insurrection. Take a look.
All of us here today do not want to see our election victory
That is
stolen
not
by
the right
emboldened
one.
radical left Democrats, which is why.
Weird. Let me get to the right video.
I love every single one of you, but this is what they do to us. They kick me off the plane, they call me a fucking terrorist, and they want to fucking ruin my life. Sir, please calm down.
Oops. They want to ruin my life. I mean, that's what he's saying. They want to ruin my. I can't believe something bad can happen to me after I invaded the Capitol. You took part of an insurrection. Yeah, it looks like you might be the one that has ruined your own life, sir. Also, this is a Wendy's. I love the crying Nazis. I love it. Oh my God, every time one of these tough guys, and I knew a guy like this before, right? A guy's so tough. Oh, I'm so tough. I'll kick your ass. I'll get, yeah, I'll take on anybody. And then they go to jail for a day, or they actually face the consequences of their action, and they're a bawling mess. Cry. Oh, they cry so much. They cry. I can't believe you would ruin my life like that. Oh, how dare I have to face the consequences of my own actions? It's so unfair. Snowflakes. Sad. Baby. Look, don't blame that shit on anybody else, buddy. That is all on you. I mean, what happened? What happened to personal responsibility? Yeah, and I can tell you one thing, okay? So many of these people have never faced any consequences for the stuff that they do, for their actions, okay? And it's so obvious that they have relied on strictly on their privilege. Remember, these people are not working class folks. Now, anybody who tells you that, oh, this is forgotten men and women, it's a working class rebellion. No, it's not. It never was. It never was. Some of these people took private jets to be there. Obviously not this guy. But many took days off, work, to go and cosplay revolutionary. You think somebody who's holding down 2 jobs, who's behind on their bills, behind on their rent, is going to pony up all that money to go and fly to DC to cosplay? No. These people, most of these people are upper crust. Okay, that's what they are. They're the business owners, it's business class. Okay, these are the bourgeois, all right? They're not screaming about $2,000 checks because they're too busy screaming N-words at black security guards, at Capitol Police. While ransacking the place on video, they have literally made documentation of their own crimes. And yet, after all of that, what you think you're going to get away with no consequences, with zero consequences? Now, to me, that video is so, it's fucking awesome, and I love it, because finally, some of these people are actually facing consequences when they thought that they were above the law. And then they're over here like, no, you don't understand. I'm not a terrorist. How could you call me a terrorist? I'm just defending Donald Trump. Only brown people are terrorists, and black people are the thugs. I'm the patriot here. Why are you treating me so badly? I'm a real American. I'm not a cuck soy boy lib. How dare you not let me on the plane? Why? You want to ruin my life? No, dude. You fucked around, and now you're finding out. I know, and he's not the only one. He's not the first. He's not going to be the last. Okay? So many of these people have been arrested and charged and are very, very surprised that this happened. Like, oh my God, how could this ever happen to me? You haven't been paying attention to BLM. And, how they get treated. For actually, 93% of all those BLM protests, 100% peaceful, involving millions and millions of people. And then you get a bunch of MAGA chuds together and they ransack the Capitol. Who are the real violent ones? Yeah, of course. And again, they're dumb enough to document their own crimes because they think that they're above the law. Well, obviously, we know that's not true. All right. Moving on here. Last one. Former White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders may have graduated decades ago, but she's getting taken to school nonetheless. Now, this is according to a report from Newsweek. Huckabee Sanders is reportedly considering a run for political office in Arkansas, so no. She recently complained that she had lost 50,000 followers on Twitter. Oh my God, I don't even have 50,000 followers. You can follow me on my Twitter at Jeff's Politics, where I only have about 8,000 followers. I'm not saying anything. I think I got something caught in my throat there for a second. But, follow me on Twitter. But anyway, she says that she lost so many followers after Twitter shut down multiple QAnon accounts for inciting violence with conspiracies. So it's funny because you're seeing this across a lot of right-wing accounts. Like, oh my God, where are all my followers going? Turns out that they're either bots or QAnoners. Conspiracy theorists, dangerous conspiracy theorists at that. So they're unironically outing themselves as having shitty followers, which is hilarious. So now, here's what she said. She said, I've lost 50K followers this week. The radical left and their big tech allies cannot marginalize, censor, or silence the American people. This is not China. This is the United States of America, and we are a free country. Now, I love how somehow big, giant tech corporations are friends of the quote-unquote radical left. You realize we also hate big tech corporations, right? Is this not lost to you? We don't like corporations because of, things like them being too big, taking giant tax cuts, shutting down, competition, small business, and stuff like that. Turns out leftists, so-called radical leftists, are not exactly fans of big corporations. And yet there's this thing like, yes, liberals, I guess, are more fans of big tech than leftists. And so why can't they ever be like the radical centrists? Because that's really who supports big tech the most. That said, like, okay, Okay. It's ridiculous. But the argument here that she makes is also dumb as fuck about free speech. All right. It turns out free speech does not exist on private platforms. I know it's the way the law is right now. And hey, look, if you want to get on board to changing that, breaking up these big companies, hey, I'm in favor of that. Any right winger wants to sign on and do the Sherman Antitrust Act to these companies, that can be gatekeepers of information. Fantastic. I'm with you. Let's break them up. Let's do some nationalization. Let's do some competition, nationalize some parts for free and open speech, and break other parts up and have them compete against each other. I think that's a fantastic idea, right? Now, unfortunately, that's not the direction that Sarah Huckabee Sanders is going to go, because, of course, they're going to sit there and just try to push Section 230, which would do nothing for this, right? The repeal of Section 230, I should say. Section 230, ironically, would create the situation tenfold. Because right now, under Section 230, Twitter, Facebook, these social media companies are not held liable for the stuff that their users post. So they can't be held criminally or legally liable, for example, slander and libel and things like that. So if I want to call Sarah Huckabee Sanders a doo-doo head, which I'm sure she wouldn't be happy about, Twitter can't get sued for me doing that because that's on the platform. You repeal Section 230, and then she would be able to do that, which would effectively freeze, political speech on the platform, right? And so I can understand that. And I understand that there's an issue with these companies being as big and not being public utilities. That said, are they talking about this at all? No, they just want to bitch and then say, oh, let's own the libs, okay? And that's what it is. Capitalism, baby, right? Corporations being able to deny services based on whatever they want. That's what's happening here, okay? So I thought you conservatives loved that. Of course you do. Only when it comes to anti-gay bakers, though, right? And the cake situation, I don't want to bake a cake for gay people situation that we went through a couple of years ago with conservatives saying, no, you should be able to deny them because of your personal feelings. Well, this is kind of what you get for that situation. All right. So there you go on that. All right. So now, I think I've pointed out pretty clear that this is not a constitutional issue. This is not a First Amendment issue, specifically. Now, I'm not the only one who's noticed that, and I'm not the only one who's probably tweeted at her about this. It turns out even one of her high school teachers had to chime in. Fun. Now, here's what she said. This is Dana Deary, who, by the way, I'm going to explain why the tweet is no longer there, because it's a more interesting conversation as well. But she said, you were a student at Little Rock Central High when I taught AP Government there. She didn't take the advanced class. If you had, maybe you would be better. You would better understand the First Amendment and the difference between limits on government and freedoms for private individuals. Now, right there, that's a fairly, logical take, okay? And it's all true. Yes, it turns out that there are limits on government versus freedoms for private individuals on speech, right? You don't have free speech on these private corporations, and so now the thing is, that seems to be rather advanced for a lot of conservatives that I see online. Also, she probably wouldn't believe it anyway, because people like her only see the First Amendment as being able to shout the N-word at black people, as well as forcing everyone to follow their own religion. And of course, the other amendment that they like is the Second Amendment, which to them only means guns everywhere for everyone. Now, I've actually softened on my position when it comes to guns. I'm actually, pro-gun ownership. I think owning guns is fine. I think leftist owning guns is fine. But I also believe that, we should have sensible regulations on them as well. That you should be trained and know how to use them. Conservatives don't think that way. A lot of conservatives are just like, no, guns everywhere for everyone in every situation. If there's a situation, you must shoot it. It doesn't matter what happens. And so I feel like her taking a class isn't going to help because it's not really stupidity that's the problem. It's willful ignorance. They bathe in how deeply ignorant they are. And a lot of stuff they do, understand, they do it strictly for the purpose of owning the libs. And that's what it's about. So now, the teacher followed this up with a pretty epic burn. Here's what she said, quote, "I taught Sunday school too. You didn't learn those lessons either." Oof. Oof. Oh, no. Imagine you being such a shit person that your teacher felt compelled to come, online, to go onto Twitter and to slam you on a public forum. It's funny because Sarah Sanders claims to hate socialism, but yet cannot stop being publicly owned for some reason. It's weird. Weird. That said, the tweets were taken down, likely because a lot of the backlash, because, vicious Trump supporters have likely gone after this teacher for saying her piece. After all, do you really expect those who backed a violent coup wouldn't have an issue with going after a school teacher for basically saying the truth, speaking truth to power? I don't know. But overall, right on the money, 100%. There it is. Okay. Anyway, let's see. Are the charges less than 1 year in jail? I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. LB things, stuff and more. I'll have to take a look of what's going on here. But anyway, that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you for going around the nation. Thank you for the new follows as well. John's Venn Diagram of Desire, thank you for the 5 Tier 1 subs. Holy shit, dude. Thank you so much. Much, much appreciated. Goku just saying thank you for the bits. Very, very kind. Much, much appreciated. Thank you so much for being incredibly generous, everyone. YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, all of you, love you guys. Thank you so much. All right, with that, I'm out for the day. It's Sarah Huckabee Sanders, an orange jumpsuit girl, or Stripes? Oh, Stripes. She'd look like the Hamburglar. I'm just saying. All right, thank you all. Be sure to like and share before you leave out the door. And we will see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern, right here, the different platforms for another great show. So everybody remember, love you guys. Change begins with you. Good night, nation. We'll see you all tomorrow.
Oh, man, I'm sorry.
Wait. You're getting nervous, man.
Mike Pounds.
There's some whores in this town. Wet ass P-word.
I will eat your ass.
Please clap. You're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me out the door.